I'm McKinney Smith. After going through a divorce, my sister passing away, experiencing narcissistic abuse, and some significant health scares, I realized through sharing my story that I wasn't alone in my suffering. Suffering, subjective distress generated by the experience of being out of balance. In a deep dive to holistically heal mind, body, and soul is where I discovered peace, clarity, and connection. It is impossible to be truly wise without some real life hardship, and we cannot develop post-traumatic wisdom without making it through, and most importantly, through it together. Social connection builds resilience, and resilience helps create post-traumatic wisdom, and that wisdom leads to hope. Hope for you and others witnessing and participating in your healing, and hope for your community. A healthy community is a healing community, and a healing community is full of hope because it has seen its own people weather, survive, and thrive. Dani Bourdeau is a holistic life coach who is curating a life that combines practicality, self-care, and wellness. Doing the work and walking together, she provides the tools for frustrated, stuck, or tried everything individuals to take back their health and get back to living life as their highest self. Through one-on-one coaching and group workshops, Dani engages with clients to uncover the why beneath the why, and redefine what it means to obtain and maintain a healthy lifestyle. Taking a holistic approach, using nutrition and the mantra, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, Dani shifts the mindset of her clients to improve their relationships with food, resulting in weight loss, increase in energy, and well-being. She is also the co-host of the Triggered AF podcast, where she shares her unique and insightful perspective on topics ranging from dating to healing and everything in between. So please welcome to the show, Dani Bourdeau.
Hi, so happy to be here again.
I
feel so honored. That means so much to me. So thank you so much for having me again. Yay.
Thank you for coming back. I had you on episode 155 back in 2021. And it's rare that we have guests on more than once. So I am excited for this conversation.
Man, time flies.
Right?
Didn't feel like that long ago.
Over 4 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. It was that long ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a minute. There's been over 100 episodes since, so it's been a minute.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. We're both completely different people at this point. So
absolutely.
It'll be like we've never spoken, okay? Because you and I are not the same people we were.
That part. Also, okay, so when we had the previous episode, we covered different things. Some of the things that you talked about, we talked about healing from past traumas. We talked about how the car accident changed your life for the better, being fueled by what we consume and listening to our bodies. And the reason I asked you to come back on is because I want to talk about something that's very important to Black women. And I think that we don't talk about it enough in terms of how our identities are wrapped up in it, how it affects our healing. And before I even tell the listeners what it's about, and I watch your stories and your beautiful family, and I've watched things evolve for you since, you were first on the show, and I've been admiring your hair. And I reached out, I was like, girl, those curls, love seeing your natural hair. Yeah. So we were talking about how it's been such a journey and the healing journey that comes with embracing our natural hair. So this episode is going to focus on the healing with our hair journey.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to unpack. So I'll try to keep it. We're here for a good time, not a long time. And yeah, it's been quite the journey that I didn't anticipate or even like wrap my mind around until I was like to the point where I can't really go back now because I'm in it. But yeah, I don't think that I realized just how much healing I had to do around it. Like you don't even think it's a thing. And then you start to like unpack the layers. And then there's so many layers that you just are like, oh no, I have to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And it gets so uncomfortable and so actually a little scary, if I'm being honest. It's some of the emotions I've experienced.
Listen, we're gonna unpack all of that. So before we get to where things are presently, I love to start every episode with going back to the beginning. And since we're talking about hair, because even in the DMs we were sharing like how long we've been dealing with these hair, I'm gonna say, I don't even want to call them struggles, but it's like, we're talking about how long our parents, were straightening our hair and the things that we had to experience from childhood.
Yeah.
So let's start there and share with the listeners like where that started for you.
So I didn't really think about hair as like something that I struggled with because in my childhood I didn't have like commentary about my hair being any kind of way or it needed to be this other way. It's so funny how sometimes it's what we're watching our mothers and our parents do, not what they're saying. But my mom had a relaxer, my aunts had relaxers. It's just like, why don't I get a relaxer? Like nobody said my hair wasn't good enough. Nobody said my hair wasn't pretty. They didn't really say it was, but there wasn't a lot of negative talk, but there was a lot of action that I was, I guess, absorbing that the straighter your hair, the nicer your hair, the easier your hair. And I think ease was maybe like the biggest, like the rhetoric you hear the most is like, we relax our hair because it's easy, not because we want to subscribe to a European standard of beauty. It's really because it makes it so much easier, right? So I got my first relaxer. I begged for, and my mom kept saying no. But in the 5th grade, I had some aunts come up from Jamaica for the summer. And I asked my aunt, and my aunts actually relaxed my hair behind my mother's back. So my mom came home and my hair was relaxed and she was furious. And I remember being so happy. I remember like wearing my hair down to school and just feeling like, okay, I have long hair and just being so, so excited. But I didn't grow up with a lot of negative talk. Like I said, it's just more so just watching and seeing all the women around me having relaxers and feeling like that's what I needed too. So I know that my mom was angry, but I mean, she was over it pretty quickly. And it was just like almost like a rite of passage, right? Like, I guess we just got it a little early, but welcome to the relaxer club. And now that's life. And it just became the way things were for over a decade.
Wow. Like, I think about, what you said about not hearing things, but seeing things. And, I strongly believe like some things are taught and some things are caught. So I know like as much as I try to tell my kids things, there's a lot in my actions that they're looking at in terms of what they should and shouldn't do. So I definitely think that part is interesting. I remember, I thought it was kindergarten, but I'm thinking back and I'm remembering like the outfits and picture days and all that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, it was probably around grade 1 or 2 where my mom started relaxing my hair. And it was probably for picture day because I'm remembering the black and white dress with the poofy shoulders.
Right.
So like elementary school. But after that, like that just becoming life. And it got to the point for me where it was life so much so to the point where when I was in high school, if it had gone too many weeks with not getting a relaxer and my hair wasn't sitting the way that I wanted to sit, I wasn't going to school.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I was that girl. I'm not like my hair needs to be done.
Yeah.
If, it's either my hair needs to be relaxed or you need to make an appointment to have my hair braided because I'm not going to school with my hair like this. Like hair was so,
it's so
big
Oh my
It was
God.
so important.
It's consuming, I feel like, for Black women.
Overly.
Yeah, like it affects our emotions. It affects how we feel about ourselves. It affects like like it is so like I get so consumed with how my hair looks all the time.
Yeah, let's go deeper into that because we know for Black women that hair is a major factor. It is a focus that many of us invest a lot of dollars into, invest a lot of time and energy into. You know, we sit there for 8 hours to get our hair braided or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how that's affected your identity.
I would like to say that I was like the girl that always had her hair done because I could do my own hair. So luckily I could swoop it and curl it and pin it. And I was just always into beauty in general. And hair is a big part of that, which I think is okay. But I felt like there was always this line that I would like cartwheel across because it would just affect how I felt about myself so much. It was like if I got my hair done and it didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out, like drama queen, like I hate it. Like I have this very vivid memory of my sister also knows how to like do hair pretty well. And she was like in hair school for a period. So I was like her little guinea pig. And I must have been about 15 years old and finally allowed to kind of start wearing like weaves and stuff like that with my hair down. I could always do like weave ponytails and buns, but like wearing like my hair down in a weave. And I had a birthday coming up and I asked her to glue some tracks in. So if you aren't familiar with that, it's a process where we take actual glue, put it on a track, part our hair, and stick it to our scalp. Okay. Like when you break that down, you're like, what? Like glue and hair should never be in the same sentence.
No.
Perfect. But we do that. And she glued in the tracks. And I remember that the color was very off from my hair. And it was so bad. And I cried hysterically. She just did my hair. The next day I went in and took all of the tracks out of my head.
Please tell me you didn't rip them out.
I mean, pretty much.
Ouch.
Like, pretty much that's what I did. I put some oil on them and just started taking them out. I didn't care about the state of my hair or the health or the integrity of my hair. I didn't care that she had just spent her time and energy doing that for me. All that mattered was that I hated it and it has to come out. So it's always been a very big part of my identity because it was like everyone knows that Dani's hair is always done. It's always on point. You're not going to catch me slipping. Like at the grocery store, like my hair is swooped and fried, dyed, and laid to the side. Okay? So for me, it's always been just a part of who I am and what I feel like people expect from me. And then it also became like, as I got older, I cut my hair off. I had a blonde mohawk. Like I was a girl with the mohawk. Like it's always been like something that I've been associated with. So I felt like I had to live up to that all the time. Like I have to make sure my hair is on point. If I decided to wear like a weave, I always had like the girls that could sew in the best. So like people would always be like, who did your hair? Like it's something that I feel like I have to uphold for myself. And then I just know that it's something that has over time from my experience and the compliments and energy that I've received. It's just like, okay, people know that my hair is always going to look a certain way. You know, they expect me to be on point with my hair. And it can give you like this strange sense of like pressure, but it also makes you feel like if this is not perfect, then something is wrong with the way I look. And I think that's where it starts to get problematic.
Absolutely. I think about what you just said about the expectation, and it's like you got to the point where people expected your hair to look a certain way. When we think about, you know, our career, our life, all these things where society, culture, family, our peers expect things from us, and then we feel the weight of living up to that expectation. And then if we can't fulfill that expectation, like what happened, not realizing that with Black women, the same thing with our hair.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah. It's so heavy. It's so heavy. And you don't even realize how heavy it is until you decide to wear your own natural hair.
Yes. Yes.
And then like, oh, I have issues. Like I have real mental issues with it. Like
Yes.
oh my gosh. Like you start like this. I mean, we'll talk about it, but it's like the struggle that I just didn't anticipate because I thought I had a great relationship with my hair because I was so willing to try different things. So I was like, oh, I'm free. I don't have issues with my hair. I love my hair. I stopped getting a relaxer around like 2021. So over a decade ago. And that was a choice I made on my own because I was like, I love my natural hair when I press it. Um, when there's heat damage, that's when it's the best. I like that, my hair is heat trained and it's so easy to straighten, but I still love my natural hair. And I felt like, oh, I dyed it blonde and I'll dye it like this and I'll shave the sides. So I must have this healthy relationship because I was never married to like one way that it needed to look. But I didn't realize that I never wanted it to look just how it grows out of my head. Like that was never good enough.
Wait, okay. So you said 2021. Did you mean 2012? Because you said over a decade ago.
Yeah. So I was 21. And
when you were 21. Okay. Got it.
I was like, yeah. So that was 2011, 2012. I kind of just like, I started stretching my relaxers out and then I was down to like once or twice a year. And then I just eventually just weaned off of it completely, cut my hair off and was like, I'm done with relaxers. But then I started getting like blonde hair and color since now that was an option since I didn't have both chemicals in my hair at the same time.
Right. Wow. I think about what you said about like you doing all these different things with your hair. So you felt like you had a good relationship with your hair. I can completely resonate with that. It's like my sister that passed away in 2012, she used to call me Nunu because every 2 weeks I had a new hairstyle. Like, like my ex-husband had a new wife every 2 weeks.
That sounds like fun.
Because it was all about changing the hair, like going from short to long, wearing the weave, braids, different colors, all these things. And so, like you said, it's like you feel like you have a healthy relationship with your hair because you're flexible, you're not tied to anything, all these things. And then when you decide to go natural and embrace it as it comes out of your own head, you're like, wait a minute. This feels somebody else
do it. Not giving what it was supposed to have. Hey.
Yes.
That's how I felt. I was so determined though. And I think it was because, so I have 2 daughters and I started my, I guess, natural, but wearing my curls. Cause I have been natural as far as not getting a relaxer for a very long time, and people would always ask me, do you relax your hair? And I'm really good at pressing it myself and I go get it cut and trimmed and take care of it. So I've had like healthy hair that wasn't always like, I didn't always feel like I needed a weave, so again, more things. So I'm like, I don't have to wear a weave. I'm okay with my hair. Like, I don't feel like I have to look this certain way. So I would wear like my natural hair pressed out into like a bob, like a sharp bob. And I was just like, okay, like this is good. And then one day I was washing my hair and my daughter was like, I'm going to say like about to be 2. So maybe like 18 months or something like that, where she can verbalize a little bit. And I washed my hair and she happened to be like in the bathroom and she saw my curly hair because I was about to press it. And she, I love your hair, mommy.
Oh,
and I was like, thank you. I was like, I'm looking at, and I have like, it's curly, but there's like a bunch of like heat damage. So there's some straight across my face. But I know she's talking about the curliness and she probably hadn't really seen it in that state. And I had like a girlfriend that does my hair and she would always be like, why don't you wear your curls? You have such nice curls. Like, how come you never just wear your curly hair? I'm like, that's not my style. Okay? I am not that girl. I am not a natural queen. I'm not that girl. Like, it's just not my look. It's not giving. It gives a little bit. And I promise you, I said this. I was like, that's just a little too basic.
Oh, wow.
And that was my energy around it, was this, just like, if I wore my hair in that way, I wasn't like as beautiful, as sexy, as interesting. Like I wasn't, and I live in Miami, by the way, to give some context, to what I'm experiencing and what's around me. This is Wig City. All the girls here have lace wigs or we have our mamacitas with the, naturally long hair. So when you have natural hair, it's not like you're in a city that is predominantly Black where you may see a lot of it. It's
Right.
like a lot of times I'm out and I'm the only Black woman in the space, even if I'm in a space with all Black women that has their natural curls out. So it was a moment that I had when she said that she liked my curls. And then I heard my girlfriend be like, why don't you wear your curls? And then it did plant the seed for me to start thinking about it. But I still just felt like that wouldn't be my style it wasn't me being true to who I was if I decided to work on natural curls, as ironic as that is.
Don't you just love the innocence of kids and their honesty?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's brutally painful,
Brutal.
but there are times when it's just so beautiful. I'm thinking about that, and I remember when I started wearing my hair natural, and it was my son that said to me, "Your hair is so beautiful, Mom. You need to stop wearing wigs." He's like, "You don't need the wigs. Like more natural hair and less wigs." And I was like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
But like just their innocence in how they view us.
Yeah.
Like, so what was the shift for you where you started embracing your natural curl?
So my daughter planted that seed and then it got me. I guess I would like to say, like, I'm a very like deep thinker. Like if you say something, like I have to unpack everything. You know, I'm always flipping everything over in my mind a dozen times and wondering and thinking and just like exploring things. So she said that and I was just like, what message am I sending to her if I never wear my curly hair when her hair's curly, right? Like mine. And I know that there's so much power in just how much our daughters see themselves in us.
Yes.
And see us in them. You know what I mean? Like there's like this mirror effect that's happening constantly with them. And I know that she's going to pay way more attention to the things that I do than the things that I say. She's going to love herself based on how I love myself and how I model self-love for her. And I just started going down that path of like, what happened when she looks at me with her curly hair and looks at me with my straight hair? What is the messaging? And I was just like, and also like, and it's more about the never wearing my hair curly. It's not about like going back and forth. Right. It's just, if I'm never just wearing my hair curly to brunch, like what does that say to my daughter at this young age when she's like in those formative years? So that was one thing. And then one day I had washed my hair and I had my brother was in town. He was coming over with his girlfriend and I actually didn't have time to straighten my hair. And I was just like, just gonna leave it. Like it'll just sit. And I texted my friend. I was like, what can I put in my hair real fast just to kind of like leave it in its curls? And then I'll rewash it in a couple days and just straighten it. She told me what to do. I put some mousse in my hair and it was like, I had a lot of heat damage. So like the back was curly, but the front again was like snapped across my forehead and fried that and laid to the side. So I was just kind of like in the house and I just left it. And I was like, I stared at myself and I was just like, I like my curls. I like how they look. I didn't manipulate them with anything. And I was like, this looks nice. Like maybe if I just didn't have the straight pieces, it could be like a look. Then I decided that I wanted to grow my hair out. And I was already in the process of growing my hair out because I always have like a short kind of bob situation. I was like, I want my daughter to see that I can grow my hair long because I want her to know that she can do the same thing. It seems like it's so simple, but that is not a thing where you believe your hair can grow. Like I like you don't even realize how limited you feel about your own hair and its possibilities and its potential. So I was like, I want to grow my hair. The only way I can really grow my hair is to stop putting all this heat on it. The only way to stop putting all this heat on it is to wear it in its natural state. And I just had to make a decision. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try. I'm going to give myself a year of no heat. And I called my girlfriend that does my hair and I was like, I think I'm ready. And she was just like, are you sure? Because it's a lot. And I'm just thinking like, what's the big deal? Like, if I don't like it, I'll just straighten it. And she's like, no, I'm going to cut off all the dead ends. And in order for it to kind of, like hold its curls and stuff like that, you're going to have to not put heat on it. And I need a commitment for like a year. And I'm like, a year with no heat? Like, she's like, yeah, that's the only way. Like, it's the only way for the heat damage. Cause she's like, I didn't do a big chop. I did what they call a mini chop, which is like my hair was maybe still about bob length, but I just kind of cut it down. So it was like a little fro, but I didn't like shave my head. So she's like, we'll cut off the damage as we grow out. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I just committed the next a couple of days that I went to her house. She cut off all the dead ends and I had like this little fro. And I was just like, oh my God, like I look like an idiot. That's what I thought. I'm being honest. Like these are the emotions. I was like, I look like an idiot. I look basic. I look like stupid.
Wow.
So I felt,
wow.
I didn't like it. I was like, this is going to be a disaster. But I'm committed to the year. I was like, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to just try. And at least I know I tried. And that was my motivating factor. Like, let me just see what my hair can do, and then let's just go from there.
So what have been some of the mental challenges that you've had to overcome while embracing your natural curls? Because like you said, when you first did, you felt like it looked a certain way. I know for myself, it was a lot of mental challenges that I had to work through.
Again, because you don't even know they're there because you feel like you're okay. It's one of those things where you think nothing's wrong with you. And then somebody triggers you or something happens and you're like, oh, wait, like there's stuff under there I need to go get. I need to open up that closet and clean out all these issues because I just didn't know. I have struggled so much with feeling unattractive and unsexy with my hair natural, which I still have moments like that. I've definitely had moments where I felt like I look like a certain type of woman that I didn't want to look like, which is so interesting because you don't even think about that. But I was like, I'm not like a naturalista, like type of a chick, really, and I was just like, I don't want to look like it's not who I am. And I don't want to be perceived that way. Like a lot of feelings like that. I definitely have feelings of like not feeling like my look was elevated enough. Like if I'm going to like somewhere a little more fancy, or if I was going to like a certain kind of function, feeling like my hair, like there are times where I'll like slick it back into a bun if I'm going somewhere a little elevated because my hair out in its natural curls does not feel like the look for a fancy dinner, for a wedding, for something. For glam, right. It doesn't feel glamorous. That's a great word. It doesn't feel glamorous to me sometimes, especially when I just did it. I didn't like the length of it. So like I felt like I looked like Florida Evans. Like I would say that was like the running joke. I got my Florida Evans fro today. Just feelings like that. Feelings like if my curls weren't functional, because sometimes your curls have a mind of their own and they don't always look the same. That was something I had to come to terms with and just honor. When you're looking at the internet, your curls don't maybe look like that other girl's curls that you want your curls to look like. And you're like, God, how do I get my curls to look like that? Girl, your curls ain't never going to look like that. You're not mixed with
different texture, different things. Yeah.
Different textures. Yeah. That's something they don't really talk too much about. And like what I've learned is the curl community, which is a huge community. Okay. And they cannot play and they will get you. But there's not a lot of conversation around like why people's curls look the way they look, maybe based on being mixed with different things.
Right.
Like that's just something nobody says. It's just like they type your curls like 4A, 4B, but no one's like, no, my curls are like this because I'm half white.
Yeah.
Or because my granddaddy's white. Like for some reason that just not be a conversation. So it was just like confusing to me because I'm just like, well, why don't my curls look like that? And why isn't my curls doing that after I followed her exact instructions using the exact products? So just a lot of feelings that you have to start really, really diving deep into how much you really love yourself and how much do you accept who you are, like regardless of whatever anyone might say. Like I definitely get made fun of by family members who like joke. Yeah, to this, like they do it all the time. They crack jokes and they make comments and slick comments about my hair all the time. It's definitely interesting, like as an adult, like to get like rude comments and not always know what to do with it because you're not sure if you disagree, right? So I've had a lot of really tough moments where I've cried. Because I didn't like how my hair turned out. I've cried because I was getting dressed up to go somewhere and I just felt ugly. And I was like, this is stupid. Like, this looks like somebody else. Like, I don't recognize myself. I just don't feel pretty enough to be in these spaces where I know all the women look different. And I just felt like how they looked was better than how I looked with my hair like this. And I just a lot of times feel like, even sometimes still, like I like it more now, but I definitely have feelings like this is not the best I can look.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I have goosebumps for everything you said. And there's a part of me, because I'm a crybaby, I'm emotional. I'm like,
It's real,
because
you know?
I I get it.
Yeah.
I've felt all of those things, so I get it.
Yeah.
I One thing I want to highlight with what you said about, us embracing our hair in its natural state, it is a part of our self-love journey,
Yeah.
because the world has told us that something else is more beautiful, more lovable, more acceptable, more, all of the things. And as we are embracing our natural hair, not only is there comments from family who you
Oh,
expect to
yeah.
love you as you are, they're focused on the Eurocentric beauty standards and
Yeah.
comparing you. And at the same time, you're trying to honor you and love yourself more. And then when you hear those things and you're kind of like, that wasn't nice, but are you right?
Right.
Like, all, all of these thoughts, I
Yeah.
get it completely. Like,
Yeah.
even down to the crying part. I remember I think I was telling you before we started recording, I stopped relaxing my hair probably 2016, 2017. And I was hiding it under wigs. That's when I started wearing wigs. And even at the beginning of the pandemic, like I'm buying overly expensive lace fronts and I'm not leaving the house. Like these are for Zoom. Like what? And leaving my hair in its natural state, going outside, that was like a struggle for me. And
Mm-hmm.
finding products to help me embrace my natural curls. And I remember my toxic ex that I was dating at the time, when I had started trying to wear my natural curls out, he saw me in the bathroom one time trying to do a twist out. And he was just like, you don't have the type of hair texture that's going to curl. And I was like, shut up. Like, first of all,
Rude.
and I mean, my kids are mixed. So my eldest daughter, her curls from she was a baby are like really formed, beautiful curls. I knew that my hair would never curl that way, but I am black. I am mixed with black and blacker. My hair curls. Okay. so, so it was finding the right products,
Yeah.
understanding the porosity of my hair, all of those things.
Yeah.
And there was, no, I don't remember the name of the product, but there is a product line from a woman here in Toronto who, I think she's also like a naturopath, but her hair products, she sells them online. And that was the only thing that allowed my curls to look, what's the word I'm looking for? It helped shape my curls and didn't make my hair look like a complete afro, but you could see the formation of my curls.
And the definition.
Yes, there were. And I started to spend a lot of money on her products, but I was like, oh, like wearing my hair in its natural state is a lot of work. Like, call me lazy, but I'm gonna go braid my hair. I'm gonna go, even if I gotta do what my daughters call my hood man, braid up and hide it under a wig. Like, that's where I was at. And I started to try to go like to networking events and different things wearing my hair natural. And I had a hard time. I'd be in the room with all these other women, whether I was the only Black woman or whether it was a room full of other Black women. And I'm just like focused on everybody's hair. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it took too much headspace, too much
Yeah.
headspace.
That's the
Focus
thing.
on everybody else's hair, like looking at the different types, textures, styles. I was getting very distracted by hair.
Yep.
And I was like, what is happening here? And I realized that it had a lot to do with my self-love journey. And as I started focusing more on my healing and doing the deep work and learning to accept and love me, was where I became more comfortable wearing my hair in its natural state, not feeling like I have to throw on a wig for this, that, and the third, not feeling like, I need the long extensions, all these things. And then about a year and a half ago, when I decided to lock my hair, that in itself was like starting the journey all over again. Cause like, yeah,
A whole new level. It's a
a
whole new
whole
level.
new thing.
Yep.
Because the girl who used to change her hairstyle every 2 weeks, with the locks, you can't really do that. And there's different styles and different things that you could do with locks, but it's not quite the same. So for the first year, I was not a fan of my own locks. Like I would cover it up with faux locks. I would wear head wraps and do different things to cover up my locks. And I'm speaking on a lot of different platforms, and a lot of them are mainly white platforms. And I'm like, how do I show up? And even my headshots, I still have the wig on. Like I need to redo my brand photos with my locks. I was planning on doing it this month, but it's a lot of internal work.
So much
Accepting that
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and learning to love yourself in this other form. I say a lot, especially to clients or even just on my podcast, I'll be like, don't marry yourself to a version of yourself that isn't as evolved as you want to be. Like, don't get so married to every single version that you can't evolve and grow, And so I'm really big on that. And I like that I like it in theory. But when there are times where I've been challenged with it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I can't look any other way. Like this is the only way that I can look and feel beautiful. And I had a couple rude awakenings through this process where I wore my hair in a pressed out state. So I committed to the year. I really didn't straighten my hair for a year, which was remarkable and quite a feat. And then at the end of the year, I wanted like a cut,
Dani?
trim. Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out after you said you wore your hair.
Oh man. Okay. So I wore my hair without straightening it for a year. So I did it. I reached the goal and I was like, all right, like I did it. I can do it, but I need to press this out and see what's happening. So I got a press and she trimmed my hair and just make sure, because curls hide an abundance of issues. Okay. So it's good to kind of press your hair out just to kind of see where you're at, get the cuts or whatever. I prefer that. So I got my hair pressed out, and the response from people and the compliments and it all came back. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm prettier with my hair straightened. I'm getting the compliments. I'm getting the validation. Like, oh my gosh, like, do I really want to wear my hair curly again? Like I had a moment. I was like, most of the heat damage is gone. If I want to just start pressing my hair out in a healthier way now that I know better, maybe now is the time. Like I don't have to necessarily go back. And I remember I had my hair straight for 2 weeks and I just felt so good, Mickey. Like I felt like myself again. I was like, this is how I'm supposed to look. I'm going back. Like I need this hair to move and bounce. And it surprised me just how different I felt with my hair straightened. Wow. And then, of course, again, it led me to some questions within myself. Why do I feel so much better with my hair like this? Why can I feel this way when my hair is curly? Why do I feel like when my hair is straighter, people like me more? People are more receptive to me. My husband is complimenting me more, right? Like all those things are happening. And you have to have a conversation with yourself. Like, why do you even need that validation? Why do you need people to like your hair? Who cares if they like your hair or not? So I started having that conversation. I was like, you know what? I want my hair to keep thriving because I'm seeing the results, right? I'm seeing my hair is doing better. It's healthier than it's ever been, and I'm just like, as long as my daughter likes my hair, that's like the only low-key validation I need at this point. As long as I like it. And the switch that I felt from going from straight back to curly, it was like I finally felt the shift, and it took a year and a half of I went back to curly and I had the straight hair for 2 weeks and I started missing my curls. And I was like, oh, okay, the work is working. Like I wanted to keep my hair in its curly state I was worried about my curls. Like they become like your little baby. Like when my hair got straightened, I was like, oh my God, what if my curls don't revert? What if my hair is even more heat damaged again? What if I'm back to square one? And that's something else that happens too, like setbacks in the journey where you may get a bad haircut, you may get a bad silk press and it damages your hair. There are things that you can be damaging your hair from the products you use, from the way you detangle. I mean, there's so much that could happen to set you back. And I had a couple setbacks that were very frustrating and that made me want to give up. But that time I got my hair straightened after a year, I felt like I missed my curls. I was worried about the health of them. And I started to feel like I like how I look like that too, actually. Like I like it. Like everyone else may not like it a lot, but like I'm loving how my curls are flourishing. I'm loving when they're bigger. And, you know, like I like to see them.
Your curls, girl.
No, thank you. But it's like I finally love them. And I needed that. And the way that I feel more comfortable in my skin, like I'm 6 months postpartum with my second baby, and I struggle a lot with postpartum body issues and stuff like that. And I still feel it, but I definitely feel a little more settled in my skin now than I did, where it's just like, just fix it, just exercise, just eat right, as opposed to spiraling like I did with my first. It's like the love of my hair and just loving how I look with the hair that grows out of my head in the morning is just so liberating. And to walk into any space, fancy or not, I don't care who's there. I don't care what it is. Like, this is my hair. I'm probably going to stretch it so it's bigger and louder than it could ever be, because I feel so amazed with just what my hair is capable of. Like, I can straighten it. I can have it curly. I can put it in braids. Like, my hair grows up to the sky. Like, that is amazing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I started like falling in love with just how versatile my hair is. Just, I feel like when I wear my hair out, I feel like my spirituality's heightened. You know, like there are some studies that say like the nerve endings, like your hair has like nerve endings supposedly. You can like feel things. So you have to actually be really careful about the things that you put on your head and who touches your head and who touches your hair. All the energy that comes with it. Like, girl, like I really, like I'm getting chills talking about it because I can't believe I feel this way now. Like from where I was coming from, I'm like, don't you look
You've come a long way, girl.
Like, yes, this curly hair is doing its thing. I like envision my hair a lot, you know, bigger and longer every day, so I can like keep on the journey, because I know what my end destination is, to grow my hair as long as possible in its curly state, with the option to straighten it, as opposed to it being the only way I feel like my hair can be worn and I like it. I love my hair now. And I know that loving my hair has deepened my self-love within myself and just my confidence within my own skin to not seek that validation so much from other people.
Yes, I love it. Love it. All of it. I feel like what you said, the big piece is the acceptance. It's interesting. So I did a podcast earlier today and we were really talking about grief, but I feel like coming to this place of acceptance with our natural hair in its natural state, it's like going through the 5 stages of grief, like the denial, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, the acceptance.
All of it. All of it. Especially like I've definitely been angry. You know, like, why do I have to deal with this? Why can't my hair just grow out of my head straight? Like, you know, like you do definitely get frustrated and angry. And I've had so many issues. If I didn't have my good girlfriend, her name is Nicole. If I didn't have someone, and that's something I would definitely advise, like get somebody who is cheering you on and wants to see you wear your hair like this. Just even just one person in the corner, don't do it. Don't chop it off. Don't put the weave in. Don't do this braid. Don't do the braids back to back because the braids were so easy, girl. Like, get someone. I would definitely, my main pieces of advice is get someone in your corner cheering you on who maybe has been curly for a long time or has some education in what to do. And also work with like a curl specialist, like a professional that can help guide you along the way, because a lot of it is trial and error, but your hair takes the beating. So you can't trial and error your hair too much. Okay. Because you're one error and you could be completely screwed. So I've learned to like ask professionals for help. Ask people who know what they're doing for help, so that you don't make so many mistakes, because your hair can't always bounce back from every mistake that you've made. And I really feel like having those professionals in my corner has helped has helped me avoid a lot of pitfalls, or like a lot of people be like, my hair's just not growing and I've been natural for 5-6 years and I'm not seeing the results. I feel like I'm seeing results faster because I have some help.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. I think that part is important. And I think because we're wired for connection, especially on this healing journey, we need someone to bond with. And I think we also underestimate, or I guess we don't give enough credit. I know we talk about like barbershop and hair salons where, it's a place of community, especially for Black people. So it's like going to the professional when you're sitting in their chair, they're educating you about your hair. It's a bonding experience. It's a connection, but then we're also embracing our identity. Yeah, I was going to ask you like what advice you would give to a woman who is, considering her natural hair journey, but you just gave like some great tips. So thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Get some help, get somebody to guide you, be patient with yourself, like just find different ways. And I think another big piece of advice, because I think I was doing this early, is don't become like a stickler about anything. Like I was like, I'm not doing twist outs because I'm not going to manipulate my curls because I'm going to like, you become like an extremist sometimes.
Yeah.
Your hair, like I have to be so natural and I'm only going to do wash and goes because that's my real hair. Like, don't become like a Puritan around your hair. Like, do what works for you. My trick, and maybe this will help someone, whenever I start to get super frustrated, I get my hair braided. Like that's
give it a break.
Like when I get to a space where I'm about to give up, I get my hair braided. I play with different rolls. Like I've done Bantu knots. Like find like different natural hairstyles that you don't keep in for like more than 8 weeks. I would never I don't keep my braids for more than 8 weeks. I never do them back to back. But in those moments where you're getting frustrated, switch it up with something else that is still in that family of being natural so that you don't give up. And sometimes just a little break. It's like when they say, if you're going the distance, don't stop, take a break.
Yes.
Take a break. Take a healthy break, not a break that's going to damage your hair. And then see, like now that my hair is back in its healthy state, like I do plan on straightening it sometimes and just having that for a little bit. But my whole goal of just not feeling so dependent and reliant on my hair being straight, I feel really good about that. So just stay the course, find the products that work for you. Follow people on Instagram who have a hair texture similar to yours. That was a big one. Yeah. So like at first I was following everybody curly and I was like, oh, my curls don't look like that. And they're making me feel bad about my curls. Don't follow her. Follow curly girls that have similar hair texture to what yours seems like, because it may still be different. Things like that. Just like finding different ways to rock it, like putting it up, like finding different hairstyles, like having fun with it and just realizing how dynamic and dope Black hair is. Like our hair is the standard.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there are people who get curly perms. Like our hair is the standard. Like you're not necessarily trying to be European by straightening your hair. Your hair just has the ability to do that. And that's amazing. But you shouldn't be doing that at the integrity and cost of how you feel about yourself and the integrity and health of your hair. So like, just embrace how amazing your hair is. Like, no other hair does this.
I agree. Like Black hair is art. Black hair is bonding. God. We've got historical pioneers in Black hair, Madame C.J. Walker and all those people. Like we've had the whole natural hair movement. Like we defy beauty standards. We have other cultures that are trying to mimic the things that we do with our hair. There's so much beauty and power in our hair.
Yeah.
And when I saw your curls, I was like, let's have a conversation about this because
you saw how my hair was before. So everyone's like, what inspired you to like wear, like you just like, I saw someone that I hadn't seen in a long time. And they're like, if someone told me like back then that you would look like this, I would be like, get out of here. Not happening. And I can't believe it sometimes. So I'm like, I really am wearing my hair like this every single day. Like this is what y'all. And I'm not going to act like I don't still have my moments, but they're much more far and few in between. And I have way more moments of feeling good and feeling happy with how my twist out came out today. Yeah. Like, oh, this twist out is giving, or being was able to stretch my hair for 6 days, 7 days, like just starting to get more invested in what my hair can do and what it's possible, what the possibilities are, as opposed to feeling so restricted. Like our hair is beautiful. It is the standard. Never feel like you're not good enough because your hair isn't doing things. And the number one thing is our hair can grow. It just needs the right soil and the right nourishment, and it needs to be taken care of in a way. And it doesn't have to be harder. To be honest with you, I find my hair wearing my hair like this has been very easy because now I know what to do. A lot of times it's just not knowing what to do, what products to use, how to style it. But I can flat twist my hair down on Monday and not take it out till Thursday. Girl, that's 3 days of not doing my hair and throwing a turban on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many options now to my hair. And so you do wear wigs. Maybe you can wear a wig out, but you have your flat twist at home. And after you take your wig off for the next week, you wear your hair. Like, it requires a little bit more planning, I think, and strategy. But I definitely can like wash my hair, get it ready to go in 2 hours on a Saturday, and I'm good for a week. I don't have to do anything else to my hair except maybe fluff it out. That's easy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the day-to-day has gotten a lot easier. So I definitely think it's more of a myth that it's harder. I think you just need to know what to do, how to do it, and get a technique down. And it becomes just as easy as anything else.
Honestly, like, this conversation has blessed me, not only because I resonate with so much of what you're saying, but I know that there are a lot of other women that need to hear this, that are either considering, you know, the natural hair journey, or at the beginning of their natural hair journey, or, you know, somewhere in the middle where they're still not even sure. So thank you for sharing your hair journey, your self-love journey. You know, I think we need more conversations about this, because I feel like after the pandemic and all the racial stuff, like a lot of, I guess here in Canada, the restrictions have never been as intense. I don't want to say never, but haven't been as intense in this, like as it is in the US, where, you know, schools are against wearing certain hairstyles and certain things. But it's like, I don't think there's enough conversations about us being able to embrace our hair, you know, our identity around hair, our beliefs, and our self-love journey with our hair. So thank you, Dani. Thank you. Before I forget, please let the people know where they can stay connected with you and learn more from you and about you.
Yeah, so you can stay connected with me at the Dani Bourdeau on Instagram, BOURDEAU. I also have a podcast called Triggered AF. You can go to triggeredafpodcast.com to stay connected with us there. You can go to @TriggeredAFPC on Instagram. So I definitely hope to connect. I'm very open. My DMs are flooded with questions about curly hair now. Like, I can't stop what people are asking. Like, I'm new to this, not true to this. Okay. Like, I'm very open. So, I mean, if you do have questions or if you need a little encouragement, like, I'm here to give what I do know and what I can help with, so that, you know, you can stick it out and really embrace all of you on your self-love journey as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dani. I will definitely have all of your links in the detailed section below the episode, so they can just click and connect with you directly. And like I said, I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming back on to share your gems and your wisdom. And I'm excited to see how your hair journey continues.
Yes, me too.
To all you healers out there, until next time, subscribe on all platforms, and don't forget to rate the show and leave us a review on Apple Podcast. And I just want to thank each and every one of you that continues to listen each week to help the show rank globally in the top 1.5% of most popular podcasts out there. I want to challenge you to share this episode with 3 girlfriends that would receive value from hearing today's show. Feel free to screenshot this week's episode, and you can tag us with your aha moments. You can tag Dani at the Dani Bourdeau. That's THEDANIBOURDEAU. And you can tag myself at The Real McKinney Smith. A healthy community is a healing community, and a healing community is full of hope because it has seen its own people weather, survive, and thrive. So let's continue to heal her.